Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome. I'm very happy to be able to speak a little bit about my book. I'm the author of the book The Return of Mary Magdalene and Discovery of the Holy Grail. My name is Dejana Vorkapić. I come from Croatia, which is a beautiful small country, Mediterranean country, let's say. And I live somewhere in central Croatia, in a beautiful place called Zagorje, which is very green and very beautiful, with lots of hills, green hills, lots of warm sources of water. So we have lots of thermal swimming places, and it's really a very, very beautiful place. I don't know what else to say about it. So, well, I don't know where to begin, because this is my first presentation of the book in English. I wrote this book in 2019 during the COVID restrictions, and it was written originally in Croatian language, and my plan was to publish it in Croatian and maybe one day make a translation to English, or maybe some other languages. But what happened was that I couldn't find a proper translator, so I did it myself. Well, I hope the translation is good enough. It was a lot of work for me, and I feel that I am capable of doing it, because I also finished to be an English teacher. So, well, I hope it's okay. And it's available on Amazon, it's available in Kindle version, ebook, and it's available in paperback. I ordered, since I published it, I ordered some copies for myself. So I don't have it right now here, but I'm really, really excited about it, and I can't wait for it to come. Yeah, well, my journey was truly amazing, truly amazing. Well, I could say my life too, because I really have experienced a lot of weird stuff in my life, and was very early, since childhood, very interested in spirituality, and was raised as Catholic in Catholic family, and I went to church regularly, and I really tried to be the best Christian. But as I was growing up, it made less and less sense to me, because I since childhood I had very weird experiences which I couldn't explain, and my religion didn't give me any answer, and it somehow I didn't fit. As much as I tried, I couldn't fit into the structure of Catholic religion that I was supposed to. So at some point, I think it was somewhere in my early teenage years, when hormones kick in, and you know how we all change and start to experience lots of different things. I decided to ignore, to just abandon my religion, and I started to look for other options to kind of practice my spirituality, but so I could be able to express myself and something that I would fit in, you know, because my own experience was always primary thing that I've learned from, and I couldn't ignore my own experience as a human being. So it was quite thorny journey, and I researched lots of spiritual stuff, and I was interested in all of them, in all kinds of religions, in all kinds of philosophies. I read everything, whatever I could find on spirituality subject. As I was growing, I also experienced lots of experiences, like, for example, very big consciousness expansions. And I also, there was a phase in my life where I could see auras, and I could feel energies, and I learned about energies. And very early I started to meditate, I think somewhere around 14, 15, when my third eye started to open, and I started to experience all those colors and shapes and inner vision, and I was always very visual. So yeah, I was really working hard, you know. I was working hard on myself. I studied psychology, and I was healing, and I also studied lots of things about energy field, about chakras, about the holistic approach to human being. I also read a lot of psychology, I told you. So it was like, for example, Jung, or even this guy, I can't remember now, it doesn't matter. Anyway, so I was also introduced to Buddhism, to Hinduism, to all kinds of spiritual practices, and I was also doing lots of stuff, and I was practicing lots of different kind of yogas and breathing exercises and physical exercises, meditations, all kinds. But so here I am now. What I actually discovered was that somehow there is some kind of Catholic Christian knowledge that I possess inside myself that is very ancient, but it didn't have a place where I could you know, where I could live this kind of Christianity, let's say it like that. I always felt very strong connection to God, and I also felt very strong connection to Jesus. While I was very little girl, I had lots of dreams with him, and he would appear a lot of time in my dreams. Always smiling and always loving me unconditionally. And somehow, I really want to make this story short as much as possible, but it's so big that I don't know what to talk about actually. So I will try to cut it to my 30 When I was 30, I decided to leave my husband and to go on a trip with my friend Nikki by bicycle. And we didn't really know where are we going. Where were we going? We didn't have any plan. It wasn't like concrete plan where we wanted to go, and we didn't go to this journey because we wanted to be fit or we wanted to achieve something amazing. We felt it was kind of spiritual quest for us. So very tiny, two small little women sat on their bikes full of things and stuff, and on 4th of April in 2012, we went on a journey. But as we were traveling, actually, we realized that we were both guided by some non-physical force and intelligence that knows where are we going, actually. So we ended up in south of France. We crossed Italy and Apennines and all this, and we went to Bugarach. Bugarach is a sacred mountain in south of France, where there are lots of stories that actually Mary Magdalene lived there. It's weird because as I was traveling, I realized that I was very, very much connected to Mary Magdalene, but I wasn't aware of it. And lots of times I had some spiritual experiences that I didn't want to admit and I didn't want to confirm, because to this little human mind, lots of stuff seemed very crazy and mad. So I just, you know, a lot of times I would say to myself, no, it's just my imagination. I'm very creative, and so I'm not going to pay attention, and I'm just gonna live my life, my everyday life, as it is. But the whole journey we went actually was a journey where Qatar people in very early Christians crossed, and they spread the religion, the primary Christian knowledge. Well, so I have to explain this because before Qatar communities developed from Bogumils. Bogumils were peoples from Balkans, so from Croatia, Bosnia, our Croatian islands, and this territory were, so those were places where Bogumils lived, and Bogumils were actually very early Christians who were keeping and who were spreading the knowledge and the primary Christian values originally from Jesus and Maria Magdalena. So what I actually realized was that Maria Magdalena was Jesus's wife. She wasn't just his student that he was that he felt pity for, you know, and she was not someone who would learn from him like, you know, other students of his. She was actually his. We could call it twin flame, but twin flame is a word with lots of connotations, and it's such a confusing terminology. So maybe it's not the best way to call, but let's say his soulmate or something like that. They were their souls were created at the same time. Because when the oneness materializes itself, it has to split first in two polarities. because it cannot be manifested in physical form if it's not split. So this first split divides on feminine and masculine side. So Jesus was masculine and Magdalena was feminine. She was trained during her lifetime very, very hardly to do the mission. And also Jesus was trained too, but they were trained separately. Somewhere in their, I think in their 30s, they met and they started to teach together. They developed very fast, both of them, and they both grew some really strong and very powerful abilities. So without Magdalena, Jesus wouldn't be able to make all these miracles that he did. And also she was very powerful incarnation of feminine aspect of the wholeness. She was a mother, she was an unconditional loving parent, she was a beautiful wife, she was very highly trained in her practices, and she also did lots of miracles and lots of stuff that we cannot find today in our Christian records. Well, the true Christianity was actually non-dual. True Christianity was they were teachings of non-duality, of being connected to oneness all the time, that we are all living in each other and that everything lives in us. Jesus and Magdalena, they lived very, very simple life, very ordinary, very human, and because of that simplicity and the awareness that they had about the nature of their own being, of who they really are, they could do all kinds of miracles, because our mind is a very powerful tool and we can use it to create. We are all creators. We are, can I go this far and say we're God itself, incarnated God itself, God or this beautiful universal intelligence or universe. There are so many words that try to describe this miracle of life, but it's very impossible, and in Christianity it's called God. But when you say God, then, you know, lots of dogmas come, and it's crazy. Yeah, actually, I was really motivated to speak today, and there are so many things I would like to speak about. There's also, how do I know all this? Yeah, well, I remembered some of my past lives. I remembered many of them, but I'm sure that there are more. One of them was I was a Cathar in France, on a hill, Montsegur. I lived there to protect original Christian knowledge. But it was in Middle Ages, and by that time Cathar communities were seriously damaged and the knowledge was lost already. And the teachings that were presented then were very far from the original, from the teachings that Bogomils had, and also teachings that were before Bogomils. but let's say Bogomils were still having this original knowledge. But later, as Cathars developed, as they were spreading those people were spreading the knowledge, but as it was, you know, every person has some kind of their own idea or ego or, you know, personality that adds something to the story, to the truth that was supposed to be given to people. So the true simple knowledge was lost because of some people that were hungry for money, for position, for egoistic purposes. And very sadly, it kind of all went down. So we were, when I was this Cathar, we were burned. Catholics came to our, they attacked our village and our place where we lived, our temple, and they burned it all. They killed me. Our wives and our children committed suicide because it was much less pain for them than to wait for the Catholics to come and rape them, and you know, they did lots of nasty things to people. The Pope just wanted to destroy all the records and everything that Cathars ever kept, because the original Jesus knowledge was to be simple and to know that you are one with God, that you are the king and the queen, that you are creator, that all the power lies inside you, that you are amazingly big, you are endless being of love, of happiness, of joy, and that you are special soul with special purpose here on earth. And it's valuable as much as every other. Every human is the same. The same. There is no hierarchy. There is no bigger or lower. There is no better or worse. There is no, you know, there is, in this God's love, everyone is equal. There is no king that rules with some people, because when people, and what the problem was, because the problem was this, that people, if they realized their own self, their own value, their own happiness, their own satisfaction that comes from the realization of that oneness inside, that's a problem for society, you know. If people are free, there is no way you can control them. You cannot put them in you know, certain positions and places, and you cannot give them, you cannot lie to them, you cannot manipulate people. And that was the biggest problem why Jesus died on the cross. They killed him because of that. And later Cathars also, we were also destroyed for the same reason. So now we have some communities of Cathars and Bogomils, but those are definitely far away from the original teachings. And I wouldn't I don't think they are supposed to call themselves like that, because they are not that. But also Christianity and Catholicism is very far from the truth. So this is my own opinion. This is my own, I could say that this book that I wrote is actually a result of my own investigation of years and years of spiritual discoveries and practices and lots of experiences. I used to work also as I had a phase in my life where I did energy healings, and I worked as an energy healer. I did also healings with crystals and all this stuff, and I realized at some point that it's as much as it's helpful, it's also not doing very good to people, really, because at the end of the day, people don't change themselves. They don't grow from the problems they created in their bodies, in their minds, in their emotions. If you come and if you heal this, you balance this energy, and the human feels better, and he or she feels that something healed. But in a while, it goes back again in the spiral of the old. And also what happened was that I had some people that were very addicted to the sessions, and as years were passing, I didn't feel good, you know. I didn't feel good anymore doing this. So I realized that people they have power inside themselves that is huge as God itself. Is the same as God itself. It is God itself. And they have to come to that power, realize this power inside themselves, and heal themselves. And realize why certain things happen, why certain illness came, and try to come to the healing themselves. So yeah, I could talk to you about so many things. This is my first video on this subject, and I think I have some videos, very old ones from few years ago. I think I recorded some non-duality talks while I was really in that phase of life. I was waking up to this part, to this knowledge, let's call it like that. And so I didn't know how to speak about it. It's a bit confusing, I know, but now I am very different person and very different human, and a lot of this is integrated in me, and I'm able to function and talk and all other things that humans do. So I would love to hear from you. I would love for you to read the book and then give some, you know, reviews. And yeah, let me know how you felt about it. And do you have some similar experiences? What do you think about what I said today? And I wanted to say something. I thought it was important, but now I don't remember. I don't think it's so important anymore. Yeah, I love you very much. You're very beautiful, eternal soul. And I'm not saying it just like that, you know. It's the love that I feel. and I'm sending it to you. Bye bye.